Hello and welcome to Education Talk. Now today we will be looking at new and emerging challenges in our educational system, and we'll also procure solutions to meet these challenges. I am Wilma. You're very welcome to this program. This is one of your best programs on education on television. Today I have a guest. He's a very popular guest in our studio today. He's Dr. Chris Imafidon, and he's a consultant to presidents and monarchs, and he's one person that has come up with so many policies that has helped to lift the standard of education in our country. Dr. Chris, you're very welcome to our studios today.
Thank you for your kind invitation.
Now, today we'll be talking about the first ever Christian all-through school in Birmingham, which is the King Solomon School near Aston University. Now, this school will soon open this academy year. It has been headhunted to lead and select the senior leadership team. What is unique about this school? Stay tuned.
Unlocking the potential for pupil success in school life through educational excellence and character development. King Solomon International Business School is a new Christian free school opening in September 2015 with reception in Year 7 classes. The school, based near Birmingham city centre, has a citywide catchment area. King Solomon International Business School is affiliated to the Woodard Foundation, which has 48 schools in its group and over 150 years' experience of running successful schools.
It's really good news that the King Solomon International School is part of the Woodard family. We are the largest family of Christian schools in the country. We have about 45 schools in this country and 1 or 2 outside this country, covering the whole age range from 3 to 18. We're very excited because we have IB schools in our family, and hopefully we can offer some help in relation to the IB and international elements of the school itself. We also have great expertise in raising results both in the state sector and also in the independent sector.
King Solomon International Business School is Birmingham's first international business free school, Birmingham's first all-through free school, catering for children from the ages of 4 through to 19 through its primary, secondary and sixth form provision, Birmingham's first Christian free school. Its non-denominational Christian ethos will enhance the learning experience of all students, including those of other faiths and those of no faith. Birmingham's first international baccalaureate world free school. Students will study GCSEs and can then progress to study the international baccalaureate. The international baccalaureate programs are highly prestigious, internationally recognized courses studied by students all around the world. Obtaining these qualifications will put your child at an instant advantage. There is so much more to education at King Solomon International Business School. If you are interested in your child joining our reception or Year 7 classes in September 2015, or simply wish to find out more, please visit www.kingsolomonibs.com. You can also register your interest to be kept up to date with all our latest news and hear about upcoming events.
For parents who are wondering, I want to send my child to a school that has a Christian ethos so that they come out with the right values. This is one school to take a look at. Dr. Chris, tell us more about the features of this school. It is the first free Christian school in Birmingham.
Yes. The key thing is schools have been changing over the years in character. They've literally excluded the core aspect of learning. That means learning about the creator. Most people just go in and learn about the creation without knowing who the creator is. But the King Solomon International Business School is focused on not just learning about real science, technology, and what's happening. They want to first of all have that character, that input from the creator. Know who the creator is, because if you know who the creator is, the whole thing is set in perspective for you, and the way you will pursue knowledge will be radically different from someone that is just doing it because they want to acquire a body of facts. You must know that the body of facts is going to be useful to the community. You must know that developing a child right from the word go, is the real core purpose. Is not giving the child a bundle of certificates at key stage 1, key stage 2, key stage 3, and then the child lives into the real world. You must also know that there are some of the children that have so much in them, there's no point for them to go into employment. They're going to be employers of labors. They're
going to become entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneur. That's why the real emphasis is on teaching the children right from day one that they can generate businesses. They can come up with ideas that will employ men and women. So you're going to have business planning, you're going to have real business leaders coming to visit the schools from time to time to reignite that entrepreneurial spirit in a lot of children that has been killed by the old-fashioned school syllabus. And it's not going to follow the school syllabus, it's going to follow a radically different program, which is IB, International Baccalaureate. It is accepted all over the world. So you're going to have an internationally recognized qualification even from Key Stage 4.
From Key Stage 4. This is quite unique because, I mean, right now we know that those starting the primary schools, it is compulsory for them to learn about money matters, but they are not really taught to become entrepreneurs. That is quite unique.
Yeah, which is funny. They want to learn about money, but they are not learning how to generate money. Because this school, you'll be taught how to generate money. How are you able to manage resources and then be able to generate wealth?
And it has a Christian ethos.
All the top leaders that set it up, that laid the foundation stone for the school, believe genuinely and honestly that God has something in every child. And so you must introduce that child and the environment to a godly environment before you start anything. So if you place God first, like we used to be in the great old days where every single person comes to the assembly, at the point of assembly, there was a time of worship and reflection before you went to your classes to go and study whatever subject you were studying. But now, assembly has been made optional. That means you don't have to have any form of worship before you start your daily routine of learning. I think that is putting the cart before the horse. You must put things in the right sequence if you want dramatic results. If you don't want any result, then that's fine. Then failure would then become an option. But if you're having God in any business, you are a success. You overcome the world. You triumph always because you have the seed of success in you. Because that is made clear to you. I am going somewhere to express my success. I'm going somewhere to happen. I will dominate whichever area I get myself into. So that's the number one thing that is missing today from a lot of the schools that call themselves schools have excluded the real creator from the scheme of things.
You know, you talked about the worship in the assembly, and it would be wonderful to see the kids read the daily devotional, Rhapsody of Realities, at the assembly, because that is one devotional that has actually helped a lot of students do better at school.
You must have a systematic study of the scriptures. Anybody that just believes that they can read the scriptures without the guidance, they'll soon find out that it's not done that way. You have to systematically study the Word of God under direction, under guidance, and then you have ability, therefore, to be able to apply the Word of God to every aspect of your life. Because if you don't know it, you can't apply it.
This school we're talking about is in Birmingham. Now, parents are thinking, I don't live in Birmingham. How am I going to get my child to Birmingham? Are there plans for us to have other campuses, in quotes, in other, cities in the United Kingdom, or is it going to become a boarding school?
It depends on how things go, because right now we are ahead of recruitment in terms of number of parents that have indicated their interest for children to start in year 7 in September 2015 or to start reception class in 2015. So because we are ahead of recruitment, you can never tell what will happen. But if you're unable to get into the King Solomon School, remember King Solomon is part of the Woodard group of Christian schools. So you can always email us and we'll be able to tell you the nearest one to you.
That's very important, because I think a lot of parents are not aware of the Woodard group of Christian schools, and a lot of people do want to send their kids to Christian schools because of the strong values they come out with.
That's what is interesting. We have this the first Muslim in the British cabinet ever, woman, the first Muslim. Guess where she sends her child to? A Christian school.
A Christian school.
So you have an atheist, somebody that doesn't believe in the concept of God, deputy prime minister, guess where he sends his own children to? A Christian school. Every parent, at the back of their mind, honestly and genuinely want the best for their children. And somehow, we all know from the league tables for exam results, from the league table for sports, from music, from every aspect of life, Christian schools dominate in terms of performance. So you cannot disconnect that wisdom that comes from the maker from the achievement of the students. You will always have that playing a big role in producing leaders. You find that playing a big role in producing well-rounded citizens that will be able to empathize with their patients if they're doctors, that have a caring heart. If you don't have a caring heart, or if all you have is a big head, then you become big-headed and you become swollen-headed, and your pride will get in the way of you applying yourself or the knowledge you've acquired to the benefit of the community.
Definitely, from statistics and from the league tables, Christian schools have actually produced the best pupils, and it's well known. So all parents seek to send their kids to Christian schools.
Absolutely.
Now let's take a look at the University Research League table. It was published yesterday. Quite an interesting one. Not the usual thing we're familiar with. Let's look at the surprise winners and losers.
Yeah, it was interesting because they had about 36 different sub-panels to review all the submissions, and they had about 154 different universities, colleges of higher education to go through. And what happened was that Oxford still had the highest in terms of the research output. Literally, it's called the highest. But what is interesting is that some post-1992 universities seem to have dug niches for themselves. So what some people would call the old polytechnics seem to have come up with great ideas in terms of research and publishing and invention. So it is not a clear black and white thing to say if you're a top university, you always be top, because there are some so-called middle-ranking universities.
Especially those in London.
Yes.
We understand they are beginning to overtake Cambridge when it comes to research.
That's what it's all about. It's now literally a plain level field for anybody that wants to distinguish themselves in any area. You can go into health, and they've come out with innovative management of different conditions. And if you're able to come out with an innovative solution and you try your solution and you publish a paper, is as well recognized as anybody that's won the Nobel Prize in medicine. So it is really an exciting time for anyone that wants to venture into research and ask fundamental questions and see how they can come out with a proposal to be able to attack that problem. So it can never be as exciting. So there are no Premiership League, Second Division League as it used to be, but right now everybody seems to be on the same starting block, and so you don't have the advantage of history on your side if you're a researcher.
So really, the opportunities are out there for everyone, whether you're in any of the Oxbridge universities or you're in a university in London, you know, and you can actually carve out a niche for yourself and excel in that area.
Yes, you have, we had over 52,000 full-time university professors putting forward their different ideas and different submissions. It's never been that way before.
52,000 is quite a huge figure.
Because some people used to think, if I'm a university lecturer and I'm in a non-research environment, all I would do is teach. That means use the knowledge that's already available and explain that to us, to students. But now everyone seems to be interested in advancing that body of knowledge. So I will not only teach that body of knowledge, but find out where that knowledge should increase to. How should it increase? So people that were doing computer science research before were tied down with hardware and doing a lot of work in hardware. But because of the ubiquity of software and because of the fact that we now have mobile devices, you don't need a big lab that is supported by a big company like IBM to be able to do your research. You can get 4 or 5 phone sets together and see which of them responds particular to a challenge. For instance, they put a malware in them and see which of them is able to respond to a malware quicker than the other, and therefore which ones can you develop antiviruses for. That in itself is research that will not, that 5, 10, even 15 years ago would have cost you so much money to start off with. But now, because of the low prices of devices, you can carry out your experiment within a budget that is ridiculously low, less than £1,000 budget if you wanted to acquire new devices.
What this tells us is that the teaching profession is radically changing. It's very innovative, it's quite liquid, it's no longer stiff, and because the teachers are well equipped, they have something to give to the students, and that is bringing up the standard of education within London, in the London universities.
Yes, because the HE division, the higher education department, is now so dynamic. The extension of new courses, the proliferation of mobile, for instance, somebody now has what is called mobile engineering. We have mobile applications. Those are things you couldn't imagine when we're talking about
15 years ago.
We're talking about mainframes, and we're talking about giant computers, and you have to write software for those. But now you're writing software for tiny, tiny, tiny devices to be able to capture images, edit the images, and then upload the images online. It's literally, we are going through the most exciting times for anyone that is involved in teaching or experimentation.
And it's important for people to take note of this, really. It is becoming very dynamic, and there are so many opportunities out there. You don't have to be in any of the Oxbridge universities to excel. You can actually excel in any of the London universities as well. Now, let's look at the implications of MicroGov abolishing the January exams, you know, where all the January exams are abolished.
Originally, all the January exams were made inaccessible to UK schools. That was that was the first thing that Gove did, because he wanted to make sure that all the exams are now written in June, and he was not happy with the fact that repeated retakes tended to distort the ability of the student. And that was his mantra. That was what he believed in, and that's what he pursued. But it's now very obvious that if you withdraw the January exam, it's an opportunity denied to students to see how well they've learned between the months of September and December, the first term. So you will not be able to know whether you have a cohort of students that are likely going to literally clean up the entire AS program or the GCSE program. Now, we now have some examples are allowing schools to be able to enroll the students, but using their own facilities. So it's, if you like, creeping back into the system to say, look, we don't, because last year's result was very, very disgraceful, because a lot of the students that were writing their A2 exams wrote only one exam.
They never wrote any A1, they didn't write any AS.
Yes, so they just went straight for the June exam, and that type of assessment is helpful to students that are able to hold a lot in their memory at one time and deposit it, but is unhelpful for students that understand concepts and can apply them, and therefore don't have a large short-term memory. So if the exam is a test of memory, you find out that some students are going to be disadvantaged. Some schools have addressed this by going to IB, doing international baccalaureate, where you don't have a big end of school exam, where you have essays to write and you have dissertations to write. But most other schools are thinking seriously of reawakening that original idea for students to write January exams.
Which means our system should be flexible enough to accommodate all types of learning. That's
one thing everybody must know. One size will not fit all. If you think you're going to abolish something, you'll find out that you are undoing the good that that particular aspect of learning was encouraging students to do before. So you find out that students that were really, really keen on doing multiple A-levels had to just narrow down their choices and say, we let us have a safe bet on the ones we are sure we can pass, instead of doing 6 or even 7. So they are broad, I mean, the breadth of their learning is being narrowed. So if you want real breadth in terms of learning, give them multiple opportunities to be assessed.
Let's look at those going into universities and those who have just finished their GCSEs. Some are wondering, what should I do? Should I go into a 6th form or a college?
That's interesting.
Some don't even know the difference.
Yes.
And some parents are wondering which is best for my child.
And there's a massive difference between finishing your GCSE and going to college, and then finishing your GCSE and going to a 6th form school. Because the 6th form school will give you the opportunity to express leadership. The 6th form school is very, very restrictive. It operates like a school. The colleges will not bother if you don't come in on a day you don't have your classes. The colleges are a lot more vocational, so you're more practical. So if you were going to do a course that was practical or linked to non-intellectual things in the university, then the college would be okay for you. But generally, the results come out better in sixth form schools than in colleges. So if you're going to apply to a very competitive university, it is useful for you to seriously consider going to a sixth form school, because that is one place where you get all the supervision Monday through to Friday. Every day the school is open, you have to be there. Even if you don't have a class, you interact with your teachers in other ways. If you don't have a class, you're given roles and responsibilities to supervise year 7, year 8, and year 9. You don't have that in a college, because college is just looking at the sixth form. You don't have the opportunity to work with younger children and show leadership skills. And if your university asks for, how have you shown leadership skills in the past? And you can't say, you can't demonstrate that by saying, oh, I was a form prefect for year 7, or I was a subject prefect for year 11, then you have literally denied yourself the opportunity of saying, oh, I have a bigger or better CV than somebody that went to college. So be very careful. If you're going to do anything academic, if you're going to apply to anywhere competitive, if you know that you are going to have a role to play in terms of mentoring, you have vast opportunities in the sixth form school.
In the sixth form schools. Now, it is the Christmas period, and I know you do have Christmas presents for all those in key stages. I'm not in this key stage. I would have wondered what my Christmas presents would have been. But tell us, what are the Christmas presents?
So if you email us, all you need to do, you don't need to answer any question. All you need to is confirm which channel this program is being aired from. That's all. Everybody can get that.
Wow.
So, and if you can send the email to us and then tell us what key stage you are in. If you don't know what key stage you are in, I'm worried. But if you tell us what year you are in, we'll be able to work out what key stage you are in. And then you get your bundle of e-books in maths and English. If you're in key stages 1 and 2, you get a bundle of books in maths and English. If you're in key stage 2, 3, if you're in key stage 3, 4, and 5, you get maths, English, and science. So you should be able to have your whole pack, and then you'll be able to open it and know that 2015 is going to be a year where you will, without doubt, top your class. Because that's the whole aim. We want to give you new tools that will put clear waters between you and the competition, so that you're not just a narrow leader, you are a clear leader. Because some people believe that, oh, when it comes to learning, some people are gifted, some are talented, others are talentless. Well, that means they don't have any hope of topping the class. But what we found out over and over again is that every single child, every single student is a genius by himself or by herself. What we need to do is explore new areas, use new tools to be able to find out what talent is resident in you. So if you have a musical talent, we have to identify that talent, we have to develop that talent, and then we celebrate the talent together. That's the thing we made comments about the King Solomon School earlier. That's another useful thing. You have a musical scholarship, you have a musical education. So don't tell me I can't play any instrument. No, there are string instruments, there are wind instruments. You can sing, even if you think you can't play. Your voice is a great instrument. If you are given the opportunity to practice and rehearse, you find out that there are hidden talents in you. So don't let anybody put you down and say, no, I can't, or I can't do that, I can't do that. My teacher said I can't do this. Who is your teacher? Your teacher is another human being that has conducted a test to assess you, a limited test to assess you for a limited period. You cannot make a real life decision on the basis of a narrow, small assessment. So your teacher may have their views about your abilities and your talent, but the person that has the final view is the person that put that thing there, the Almighty that developed that in you, that deposited that in you. So it's your opportunity, it's your unique position to identify that and then develop it. Because don't tell me it will express itself automatically. You have to develop it. If you're a sporting person, you have to develop your sporting talent and then use it to the good of the community, and everyone will celebrate it.
Definitely. So for those out there who want this Christmas present, which Dr. Chris has told us, a bundle of ebooks that would actually unwrap the talents in you, because you need the right tools to do that, and these are new tools. The only thing you need to do is to send an email to educationtalk@loveworldtv.co.uk. Give us your name and the key stage you're in. If you don't know the key stage, we'll be very worried, as he said, but put the year you're in and give us your address as well. And of course, we'll have your email address and we'll get back to you on how to send the gift to you. In the meantime, Merry Christmas. Do have a lovely Christmas. Dr. Chris, thank you so much for coming on our program, and we look forward to having you again.
Thank you. I look forward to a wonderful 2015 for you. More successes in areas you never expect.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Viewers, this is Education Talk, and if you have emails and questions as well from parents, teachers, remember here today we looked at new and emerging solutions in our educational system and how to actually meet the various challenges. Now you can send emails to educationtalk@loveworldtv.co.uk. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of our programs.